Whispers of the Smoky Mountains. This is your host, Kaylin Cole, and this is
LD Ottinger.
For those of you all who don't know who I'm sitting beside, this is NASCAR legend LD Ottinger. He has won many of races throughout the United States. He's raced in a few races such as the NASCAR Winston Cup Series while driving the Black Diamond Coal No. 2 Chevy. He was champion in the NASCAR Late Model Sportsman Series of the Busch Grand National Series. Now, LD, can you take us back to when you started racing?
Well, I started when I just young. I can't remember exactly how old it was, but the old local fairground speedways. Back on the old flathead 4s, 44s, and stuff like that. I started back in those days. It was in the 50s. I believe it was 58, but I ain't sure.
How old were you when you started racing?
Well, I was born in 38, so what, 28 or 30 years old. I was getting up, I was just a kid then.
And for those that don't know, at the fairgrounds, you're talking about the Newport Fairgrounds.
Yeah, Newport Fair is still out there today. I don't know if they use it much or not, but it's, the old fairground there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have a story about you ended up in the parking lot there
Yeah.
at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, one time I was leading the race and they had a wreck. His car was run up on about the lap, and he bowed up, stopped running, and I run over the wheel, and it cleared that fence just like an airplane. I rode an airplane front seat just like an airplane going out, went out, and I could see over the, used to be a drive-in theater there. I could see that, it was hit way out in there, and didn't turn over, and didn't turn the car up. It just hit down in there, it turned around backwards in the air. There was a post sticking up there. I don't know why it was there, but it was part of the, I guess it might have been a flake, a big old square post.
Mm-hmm.
And the bar on the side of the car hit that post, it turned the car around the air, and it hit backwards off down in there.
They said they were looking for you and they found you in the parking lot.
Yeah. I just didn't know where I went to, really, because I went a pretty good piece out down in there.
Who'd you used to race with down here at the fairgrounds? Do you remember some of the names?
Don Collins and Paul goes from Marshtown. It's a guy from Bulls, oh gosh.
Now, LD,
Pete Kloss.
the Newport Raceway or Newport Speedway was part of the NASCAR circuit at one time.
Yeah, it was a circuit they run more than once there. They come down, I don't know how many years and ran, every year they would run there. I think it didn't run a lot, 2 or 3 years maybe. It run, a lot of years, because I don't know why, but anyhow.
Then also you raced in Maryville, and that was part
Yeah.
too of the circuit.
Yeah.
What about some of the legendary racers? I know you're talking about like Lee Petty, the Fireball Roberts, Ralph Earnhardt. Those are legendary racers that you had interaction with them directly, or their kids like Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt, people like that.
I raced with Richard, and I dealt with Dale's daddy. I used to go over, I believe it's Columbus, South Carolina. A lot of those guys be over there, and that's in the early days. But I raced with most of those guys back when I was just, when I first started, they were racing me. But Ralph Earnhardt, Dale's daddy, Banjo Matthews. Later on he built a lot of cut cars for years. He was in Asheville. Curry Bodenhammer, he lives up Hendersonville, and he did a lot of the cars. So I had a lot of connections to Carolina. Home and Moody, we used to go over there, I think we used some of their motors at one time. But anyhow, they was big, and they built all the cars, a lot of cars back then.
How did you make your connection with Earnhardt?
We met at the racetrack, really. He started coming to the racetrack, he and 2 or 3 little boys. And he always tried to park beside us. I don't know why. And we just got to talking, and we started helping, I had those good sponsors, and it just, kept growing over the years. So we never did lose connection. We didn't contact a lot, but we still, stay in touch with some.
And you said you gave him a pair of wheels for his car?
Oh yeah. Well, tires and wheels, we let him use our tires and wheels. We had 3, 4, 5 sets. We let him use them. He'd bring them back, you know, just, he'd use our tires and wheels a lot of times.
He stayed in the motel with you too, didn't he?
Well, I didn't stay there much, but I'd get a motel, you know, here, and he would stay here. Now, he has stayed with Daytona and places like that, or Charlotte, you know, he'd stay with me.
And then when he would come to Newport to visit you, you'd go to Dean's place, and he
Yeah.
liked to bear hunt, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Some of those guys up at Hartford, you know, Bar Club, they take them hunting. They got to be some friends in that, you know, I really liked it, and he did too, you know.
Mm-hmm. He liked Dean's place too.
Oh, yeah,
They have all kinds of stuff up
That'd be the
there.
first thing he'd ask me. Yeah, Dane Don said, you know, they went to Daytona, and he'd take them to pits, you know.
That's so cool. So talking about racing, there's two different tracks you can race on, dirt or asphalt. And the fairgrounds, what kind of track was that?
It was a half-mile track. It was dirt for years, you know. They finally asphalted it, but it was later years, you know. And I think, well, I'm saying they asphalted. I think they did because it was dirt though most of the time.
And which did you prefer racing on?
Well, I like both, you know. I guess asphalt because I did a lot more runs over the years, you know. But I was pretty good on dirt. I like it, you know, so I like both of them really.
And that's really rare for a driver to be able to be successful
But
on
most
both.
of the younger guys never run on dirt, you know.
Yeah.
You know, that's the early days of all the trucks were dirt, you know.
And in the early days, you didn't wear seatbelts, right? You were the
Well,
first one to put a
Very
seatbelt.
few, a lot of the guys didn't wear seatbelts back in the day. The early days didn't have seatbelts. And seats with the side on them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the guys got hurt too back in the day because of that. But anyhow, I just started doing it. I don't know why, but I can't remember exactly why. But I knew that needed to be something done. And I worked at a machine shop, you know, there, and they had a machine shop, and they would make my seats, you know. I had to make them, very problem those guys. And they make them fit, you know, stuff. And so, you know, that's why I never did get hurt, to be honest.
And they used to make fun of you for wearing a seatbelt, didn't
Yeah,
they?
they did to start with, but they didn't after, you know, a while though.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted seatbelts after that. You know, they was started making, it was 2 or 3 different companies maybe started making. You know, our made seatbelts for years, you know. They were good seatbelts, you know, it's sort of like race seatbelts. That's what it's copied after.
Uh-huh. And you said you used to use a seatbelt as a head strap. You fixed one up.
I took a snarl belt, sort of like I don't know what it's used for, just a snarl belt with a slide buckle, you know. And we'd have made hooks and put in it, and hook to the roll bar, and, you know, keep your head from, you know.
Yeah. And
Then they started making the headrest. Now, you know, it goes over there. I think we started doing that too after, you know, we used that a while. Then we started making headrests and put foam rubber in, and that's what they used today.
and your pit crew must have helped you with a lot of this. Who was on your pit crew?
Well, Elvin Rector, a guy from Carolina, he was on for years. Jay Smith, guy, is Buzz Cos. My Buzz, no one calls, but there's a guy named Buzz up in Bluefield, Virginia. There's 3 or 4 guys up there. I raced for that guy. They worked on my car. And then,
You got a Newport native on your pit crew, didn't you? Coop Benson?
yeah, Coot was on it for a long time. Yeah, Coot's with me for a long time.
Now, LD, let me ask you. We had the Newport Raceway, then you had the Newport Speedway, because we got a lot of younger people that's not familiar with either one of them, because both of them been shut down for years. But the first track in Newport, that's at the county fairgrounds, or the Cotton County A&I Fairgrounds,
You know,
that connects to Kim Porter's father's property, old John Porter property, for the older ones like myself. But that was out with the fairgrounds there. Now that was one of the big dirt tracks here.
Well, you know, back in the early 20s and 30s, they had a racetrack over the fairground, at the old fairground. I mean, the park. You can see part where you speak if you know about it. They had a big old track there. They run any type cars there back. It was in the 30s, I guess.
Wow.
Way back, I never did get to go there, but it was before my time. But there was a tree over there where a guy got killed, and it's stuck part of the axle and stuff in that tree, and I think it's still over there.
Wow. Then you
Didn't
had
even know about that.
Then you had Newport Raceway,
Yeah.
which is on Industrial Road.
Yeah.
Now for years, that was a racetrack too.
Yeah.
That a lot of the younger,
Yeah.
younger guys would come through. I think that Jeff Gordon at one time drove little mini cars,
Yeah.
and it was reported that.
I think Jeff come to Newport once or twice.
Yeah.
I believe he did. I ain't sure, but I think he did. Yeah.
I just want to make sure. Now, the one thing I wanted to ask, and please don't mean to jump in, but at one time too, you held the fastest track record at Daytona,
Oh, yeah.
and that was here recently, the Daytona race. But being a pole sitter and having the fastest track, talk a little bit about how important, number one, it is to be a pole sitter. Because in those days, everything you did in your car, you did it to yourself or your crew, and then be able to hold that, records of fast, not just that track, many tracks that you've been on of the records, and records are meant to be broken. But that's impressive to set a track records at any NASCAR.
I did that at Riverside. I held the record out there for 4 or 5 years. On that track, speed record there. And that's a big deal out there, that Riverside. They still race there now.
That in California?
It's a flat top track, yeah. But all of them later on was black top. They wasn't no dirt tracks, back. Well, the Newport racetrack, stuff like Atomic, but back in the early days, that all of them was paved tracks, that the NASCAR run on. Local tracks were still dirt, but big tracks, NASCAR ran over the top, most of them paved.
I think you set that record in Daytona in 1987.
I believe it was 86 or 87.
Yeah, it says Daytona 1987. LD had one of the fastest times ever
Yeah.
on the Daytona.
Yeah, we always led the races and stuff like that, but we never did have the pit crew. It always, those guys like Darryl, someone that used to cut pit crew, they could beat us in out of the pits. You had pit 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And we never did get all the way back to the front, after when you pit, cause it's just, you ain't gonna be a whole lot faster than some of the pit cars. You gotta do your best you can do.
And talking about making fast cars, you did it on your garage for a little while, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. And did motors there, The machine work was done on Greenville or Jefferson City, Dick Skeens back in the early days. The shop's still of our day, the engine shop. He did a lot of our motors, machine work, stuff like that. And he would put some of them together, but I did a lot of putting them together too. And Wayne Thompson in Greenville, he put some of the motors together. So some of the motors, banjo, they was put together there in his shop.
And you said some World War II engineers came and helped you with your cars sometimes.
Yeah, the guys worked at Kansas, Ray Prophet, and there's 2 or 3 more guys that they had worked at Oak Ridge, that's where they built the atomic bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And they was machinists. And, they had lathes, all that stuff up there, and we'd take the pieces for motors, like the rods, lighten them up, do things to them. The valves, we lighten them up, make the guys, make them fit the combustion, the force better. The motors just ran better,
Mm-hmm.
And most of the guys didn't have any access to that, And I had a real good motor, good cars, so I won a lot of racing, but having good cars, of course, you have good people too,
Who are some of the people that you remember the most, and some stories that you remember the most with those people?
Yeah. Darryl and Dale. I got them on Cuckoo and Sterling. Marty Robert. Well, we'd go out to Grand Rock from the racing, and he'd invite us out, we'd go out and he'd have a place, and he'd always have a table over there. They had tables for some of them, and seats, it was big, big place. And we'd sit in his place, or he'd get his seats at his place.
The one thing I want to say is, for the ones like, you can phrase it, when you think of Dale Earnhardt, you think of a rivalry between him and Rusty Wallace. If I say Earnhardt Wallace or Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon, if you said LD Ottinger, what would be those one or two or three people that you knew if you got on the track, it was going to be a hot race from the minute you got on the track to the minute you got off the track. As a racer, because you know they got ones that says I can drive better than you and you drive better than him. It might make him mad, but that was always a love-hate relationship in the sport. So, what about rivalries that you had?
I never really see. I had one with somebody in Cobra, Virginia, a little bit. He was always pretty rough on us. But I really never did really have a big rivalry with none of them. You know, really, we always got along. You know, we raced hard. You know, but we always got along. You know.
So you didn't have a rival at all when you got on a racetrack? Because I playing sports growing up, I'd always want to play against this one. You know, you always had that one person that you always wanted to be better than. You didn't have that one person?
Well,
what about Tommy Ellis? Was he a better driver, same driver?
He was hard to race with. He was rough, and we had a lot of ups and downs in Tommy did. We never did. If it was in the same race, we'd always usually get together. We have spun each other out, and he's cost me a race or two, and I did him too, you know. But I'm not the only one he had trouble with. He had trouble with a lot of people. And so I guess I won off, you know. But anyhow, everybody had a trouble time.
What was your favorite racetrack to race on in East Tennessee? So you have Maryville, Newport, Kingsport, Bristol. What was your favorite track?
Really, I guess if it wasn't, I guess it'd be number one. And I like Kingsport because, you know, it was, and Newport was a good racetrack, but it's a little different, you know, it wasn't up to date like those other tracks. So, but out of those two I wouldn't turn out for the difference, but both those were really, and I won a lot of races there, you know. And I like the racetrack at Nashville. It was a high bank racetrack. And, you know, a lot of the drivers never did really like us. But, you know, but I love them high bank racetracks, like up in Indianapolis, a half mile up there. It was a high bank track. So they run faster, you know, on those tracks.
If you had to remember one race as your best race as a race car driver, what would that race be?
I guess Bristol won the big 400 lap races, beating all the guys, some of the cup drivers and all. I won 2 or 3 of those, you know, the big races, you know. So I guess that was about my favorite. Most, you know, really found to win. Everybody wanted to win Bristol, just like win Daytona, you know.
Upgrade your ride with Ryan Weeks at Rusty Wallace Ford. Are you in the market for a new car? Look no further. Visit Ryan at Rusty Wallace Ford for the best prices in town. Take advantage of special financing as low as 1.9% for 72 months, making your dream car more affordable than ever. Why choose Rusty Wallace Ford? Unbeatable prices, special financing, 1.9% for 72 months. Credit issues? No problem. 9 out of 10 approvals with bad credit. Savings galore. You'll save more with Ryan Weeks. Contact Ryan Weeks at Rusty Wallace Ford at 865-850-9948. Don't miss out on this opportunity to upgrade your ride and save big. Head to Rusty Wallace Ford today and experience the best quality, service, and affordability your dream car awaits with Ryan Weeks at Rusty Wallace Ford.
You know, John Warren was her husband at the time. He was running for a state senator, and he was politicking. And he came to the racetrack. There's all the people there, and before the race, he came down the pits, and anyhow, she ended up in our pits, you know, talking to us about racing. I guess the guy at the racetrack brought her down because I was, you know, all the races stuff. So we talked and got, you know, talking about it. She's really interested. You know, I tell her about the racing, you know. And so they went up in the stand and stayed for the race. They were going to leave. They decided they went up and going to stay a few minutes, but then now they stayed for the whole race. After that, well, here they come, down the pits, and they stayed in there a long time with us, you know, after dark, you know, and hang out with us. But
She gave you a trophy one time, didn't she?
Yeah.
Was at the same
Yeah.
time?
She did at Bristol.
And then Linda Vaughn. Do you remember her?
Yeah. Met her, I believe Daytona. I believe it's Daytona. I think Riverside too. I believe I'm at Riverside too. You know, she was a race queen back those days.
She's a pretty lady.
They were nice, you know. I mean, they were easy to talk to. You wouldn't think, but they were interested in racing. They had done their homework. They knew, you know, they wasn't bad to ask you stupid questions, you know. They must have watched some, you know. You know, John Warner, I talked to him. He talked to me quite a bit too. He was a nice fella.
That was her sixth husband.
I know she'd had a bunch of them.
That was her sixth husband. That was crazy to me. She was a senator from Virginia.
Yeah, from Virginia.
I looked that up and I thought, wow,
Yeah.
that was her sixth. And he had been married before.
LD, I'll set it up to you. You talk about experience about you travel on the road a lot,
Oh, yeah.
and now I guess we're getting accustomed to everything's either got a credit card or a debit card.
Yeah.
But during this period of time, when you won races, they assume they pay you in cash or they pay you in a check. You had an experience, so I'll let you set up. I'd like to talk about you how the co-op come into handy one time.
Yeah, was it for a motel or airplane ticket?
I think you said it was an airplane ticket.
What was it for, Rhonda?
I think rental car, wasn't
When
it?
he got off
really.
the airplane. Yeah.
You know,
You tell an airplane story about you leaving your
Yeah, the elephant, the bat, and the elephant too.
and then
the car sat right in front of Bristol at the airport. They're sitting right in front of the main gate, right there. Yeah.
so you're running late, to catch a flight.
Yeah, you know, they had it towed. They got a big locker and they had it put in there. And then I called in and had Ken Huntley there. I believe it was Ken, and maybe his son. They went and got it out and had to go get it out of the lot there for me. But anyhow, we didn't know the flight was that close. It was running late anyhow. We had to run wide open, get up there, you know, and pull it right in front of the door. I went in and shoot. The plane was fixing to leave. They made the plane. I had to run after to get in the plane, you know. So there my truck sat there.
But now we use credit cards, and you said you went to go pay for a rental car with cash, and they said they didn't take
wouldn't
cash.
You know,
Yeah.
I said, well, I don't have a credit card. I said, I don't have to take a pocket full of money. They wouldn't take it. I argued with him. Rod Long, Marshtown, he worked for some goes races. And he had a co-op credit card. He's the only one in the bunch that had a credit card, and they took that credit card. Yeah, and it worked. So it was something to do, you know. But they took the credit card. Yeah, Rod went to a lot of races with us. You know, he worked with pit crew, drove the truck.
Unleash the spirit of the mountains with Old Smoky Moonshine. Embark on a journey to the heart of the Appalachia and experience the authentic taste of tradition with Old Smoky Moonshine, where every sip tells a story and every drop captures the essence of the mountains. Elevate your spirits with our handcrafted moonshine, distilled in a small batch to perfection. From the classic original moonshine to the bold flavors of apple pie and blue flame, we bring you a taste that's pure as the mountain air. Why choose Old Smoky? Crafted with care in the heart of the Smoky Mountains. Wide range of flavors to suit every palate. Tradition meets innovation for our unique moonshine experience. And it's perfect for sipping, mixing, or crafting signature cocktails. Whether you're celebrating life's milestones or simply savoring the moment, Old Smoky Moonshine is the perfect companion. Share the warmth, share the stories, and make every gathering unforgettable with the true spirit of the mountains. Old Smoky Moonshine in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And with your seatbelt story, there was a time that you had wrecked into a pond.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
ran
tell me about that.
upside down. Was that? 411. I did 411 Speedway.
And you can't swim.
No, what happened though, about the seatbelt, went to practice without the seatbelt facing. And I stopped on this racetrack and hooked the seatbelt up, made about 2 laps, and I really turned it on right there and ran out over the bank, turned the flip, and hit the top of that pond. I had my seatbelt on, but I finally got loose, my head stuck under the water.
And you can't swim, right?
No, I don't remember if it's a pretty good sized pond. I can't remember if it's over my head or not, but I know I was scared to death. that pond upside down. But I got out. I didn't have any trouble getting out because I got out like a ran, I guess. But it did hit. I don't know if it stopped that.
I mean,
I ran out at Newport, when I went out of the race. I jumped that fence and went out in the parking lot down there and finally hit a car down there and stopped.
The one thing I think is interesting is when you think of Richard Petty, you never think of Lee Petty, because I mean those are the Mount Rushmore. If you had to make a Mount Rushmore of NASCAR,
Oh yeah.
and I think that the Hall of Fame needs LD Ottinger. That's personally me. I think, and there's a lot of people that feel that way too, LD.
Yeah, there's a lot of men that they had done what I have. I mean, I've won a lot more races.
They've got smaller accomplishments, and you've got greater accomplishments. So I think one thing with this, I think that
The people I raced with and the championships I won.
and I think coming from you, I think it'd be good too. I'm serious. I think that there's no better time than the present. That there's people that's achieved nowhere near here what LD Ottinger has done, and I think that it should be. I know NASCAR now is more commercialized, but there's no doubt in my mind the achievements you have, the hundreds of races, hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah.
And the winning and the consistency, but that's the one thing I think you should talk about. I think if you do a little bit about the legends, and then the people are now like Jim Phillips that got his start with him, and then set it up with for.
It's turned out real well, MRN. He was him and Levi was a head announcer for years on the radio. Then I finally got on TV. That's before, I think they got on him before he got on TV.
There's another African American racer that made history here in Newport. Can you tell me a little bit about Randy Betha and his contributions to NASCAR and racing?
Well, Randy was a good racer. He raced. He'd go out of town like us. He'd like up in Nashville and run Newport. He didn't go as many places, but he got to. He's one of the first black guys that did that.
I think there's only 7 to ever race in NASCAR. So
Most of them didn't. I know of didn't go all around. Just become a few races. I don't think anybody really run the whole circuit, but Wendell Scott, I think he did. He never did win no race out, right? I take that back. He did win one at Jacksonville, didn't he? Yeah, Jacksonville, Florida. I believe I'm right. Won one at Jacksonville.
and he used to come here and race too in Newport.
There's a lot of the guys, Lee Petty and Fireball and all those guys. They can run that race at Newport.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Fireball. I believe he drove for Smoky and Daytona. The Smoky cars back in the early days. That's good cars,
In NASCAR, and of the 7, I know Randy was not the first, but by far he's the only one from Newport in this area.
What's the one from Charlotte?
And then one of only 7 of African American descent that's ever.
I think there have 2 or 3 ever come to Newport. Maybe 1 or 2. I think Wendell come and Randy.
Now, when Randy got started, did he work on your pit crew, or was he just a young racer? Or?
He came with Roy Transit from Nashville. That's how he got to in Newport.
Yeah, he's not from here.
No, he's not from. He's from Nashville. He's got a whole bunch of brothers, and they hang around that shop up there. And Roy, lived up there, and, he had a banjo car, and he come down here running, he got to come with him. He'd ride the back of the truck, he would let him ride the front of the truck, I never will forget that, to start with. He had to ride the back of the truck.
You told us that the other day.
But anyhow, he done real well though for a black guy, and everybody liked him, you know. He helped break the barrier, you know, really.
He's a legend in NASCAR for sure.
Yeah.
I watched some of his documentary, and he just said he didn't have the money
No, he didn't, he
to do
didn't have any money.
NASCAR. It's expensive to race in NASCAR, he said. He didn't,
He
that's,
didn't have any money, you know, at all, he can't. And so, just lucky, you know, people. I guess, I can't remember how he really, but Banjo, I guess, hit him up nice, you know, he hung around Banjo's shop. I think that's right, Kerry Boat and Hammer, I don't know if they really hit him or not, but, he really got started to come people racing. I don't think he ever run much before he came to Newport, you know. Cause he was young when he came to Newport.
mm-hmm.
But,
We'll backtrack now.
I'm not sure, I think I pretty well got it right, you know.
Is his sponsor of coal? I mean, how rare is it to have a coal company? You think of advertisers now of being, you know, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, you know, Firestone, your larger, I mean, I think of those as being legendary, like I think with the Grand Ole Opry, when you see, you know, Mother's Best flyer, or you think of Purina Dog Chow that did the Johnny Cash show, and to have, you know, a coal company be your sponsor, I mean, that's huge, because you have a lot of coal mining folks that are just a lot like fellows here in East Tennessee, especially Cotton County. I mean, it's hard work, and that their money, they invest their money wisely. They just don't throw money. So you had to catch their attention for them to be able to invest in.
I did that because I was good at what I did, you know, and I could win races, you know, and I guess they just, you know, because I was winning and doing good, you know, had good cars. You know, just, I guess if they were looking for somebody to help, you know, they want somebody to win.
Everybody wants to be on a winning team.
Yeah, you know, that's good ball players, that's what they are.
In anything in life.
They wanna go to the, you know, where the money's at and where they can win.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of the players, they want the money, but they still wanna win, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I wasn't racing. I liked the money, but I still wanted to win races. It wasn't just about the dollar. Because I had a job, I worked a job, that's what made a living. And, you know, for years, you know, I worked at Stokely and raced. I made a living there. I stayed because they had good return. I still get that today, you know, I was lucky there. Insurance, you know, so I was lucky there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill Stokely, they owned that company, and we were friends, you know. I sold him his first car, you know. And I don't see him much, I've not seen him in a few years, but we used to, you know, communicate once in a while. But I think he still lives over in Gatlinburg.
You had sponsors, like race car drivers nowadays, they have sponsors such as like Coca-Cola, Firestone, but you had a unique sponsor. Who was your big sponsor back in the day?
Well, the Commerce was the best, you know. And I had a tire deal with Goodyear, then I had the Firestone tire deal, and no, when I had it there wasn't anybody in our division, I don't think had it. It might have been one or two, but it wasn't much, you know. I was lucky to be able to do it because I was, you know, running good, you know, started winning. So they, you know, they want to be able to win the car. It's like any big team, you know, they want, if you're good, they want you, you know, that's just what it worked out.
Mm-hmm. And do you remember the story about your sponsor lighting up $100 bill?
Yeah, who was it? Was that CB?
Coal mine.
Coleman.
The coal mine.
Yeah, Coleman. CB?
No,
Which one was it?
the coal miner.
What's
CD was the beer distributor.
Which one?
CB.
CB Glenn.
He was the beer distributor.
He was the beer distributor.
CD was.
Yeah,
The
he-
coal miner's the one that lit up the $100 bill.
That was Childers.
Childers.
That was
Yeah.
good.
He was a good fellow. You know.
But he lit up that $100 bill to do what, Childers says?
What was that about? I can't remember now.
I think you told me he lit up that $100 bill to light a cig.
A cigar.
Cigar to, I think was, I don't know, to celebrate a win or something such,
It was
but
wins. We won a race or something like that. And, anyhow, he took $100 bill. I remember. I couldn't believe he did that. And lit that.
He lit the $100 bill and then lit a
He
cigar.
lit a cigar.
That means that's how you know you're winning.
Yeah.
Cause he's getting money.
Yeah. Those people, they were good people. You know, all them guys, they come up, they were like us. They didn't. I mean, just look at the people got involved in coal mine. They stepped up. And, you know, that's a big deal. A lot of money involved in that. That's like guess money, guess mine. You know, like ours today. They would make a lot of money. You know, bought that big new airplane. You know, we got 2 different ones. You know. We had a single engine to start with, then they turned around and bought a twin engine. And we was the only one that had that. You know, that's before any of that. I don't think any cut guys much had it back then.
The something about the bag they wanted to put on the plane, they should have had to close to fit a baby elephant, how heavy
Yeah.
it was, and you were afraid the plane was gonna crash.
Yeah, they wouldn't let you put, I think that's what it was, maybe luggage, you know. You know, I had a lot of stuff, you know, and they made me downsize. So I learned to downsize, but you know, after got to flying to start with, I didn't know, like I hadn't been a horse.
Yeah.
Especially flying, you know. I was lost, you know. So, but anyway, it took me a little while to learn, but I learned.
LD, your contribution to NASCAR helped pave the way for many locals here in Newport that had the same passion for racing as you did. Jim Phillips, Coop Benson, Randy Betha, and many more. There's no better time than now. LD has the same and better than some in NASCAR, with all of his records that are in the Hall of Fame now. LD Ottinger is a name that all should know in NASCAR. You are a legend in NASCAR and in Newport. It has been a pleasure to interview you today, LD, and I am a big supporter for your name to be in the Hall of Fame, and I think we should have a statue right out in the middle of Newport for you.
Well, I appreciate you know you doing this, and it's been a lot of people talk to me about it, you know, but we've never got down to doing this. But I'm glad we're doing it. You know, people want to know. A lot of younger people don't know about it. That's race fans. So, you know, it's good to have somebody from local that's done that. You know, so I'm glad to be the one that did it. You know, and I've always enjoyed doing it, and glad to help some of the people, you know, that come along. So I guess that's, you know, pretty good honor.
Well, thank you for coming on again. This is an honor to sit down and talk to you. My dad thinks the world of you too. I've been hearing about LD since I was a little girl looking through his race cards. So this is memories that the city of Newport should have and should cherish forever. And I'm just glad to sit down and talk to you today.
Well, I'm glad to talk to you. You know, I'm glad to do it with somebody, you know, that's interested, you know, interested in history and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed talking to you, and maybe later on we can do it again sometime, you know, talk some more about it. But, you know, let everybody know about Jim Phillips and Randy and that, you know, all those people. You know, they need to be mentioned too, you know. So, anyhow, we've done real well in this area for NASCAR racing.
We have some legends, just not even in NASCAR, sitting in our backyard that people have no idea about.
Yeah.
And it blows my mind.
Well, I appreciate you thinking about that, you know, and doing this, so maybe a lot of the younger people will know about it, you know, learn about it, and, you know, carry it on down the road.
Well, thank you, LD.
A heartfelt gratitude extends to LD Ottinger and his family for graciously allowing me to spotlight this podcast episode on a legendary figure such as himself. LD's exceptional contributions, particularly to the realm of NASCAR, showcase his status as a historic native of Newport adorned with immense accolades. This episode is a humble tribute to a man who deserves recognition, and I honestly hope it resonates with the right audience, propelling LD Ottinger into the esteemed Hall of Fame. Our upcoming guest, Randy Betha, is another jewel in Newport's and NASCAR's crown, and I am thrilled to share his captivating stories with you. LD Ottinger, you are without a doubt a Hall of Famer in my eyes, and your remarkable character shines through. A sincere thank you for being an incredible man and contributing to the legacy of Newport. As we eagerly anticipate Randy Bethea's tales, I extend my gratitude to our dedicated listeners. Always stay curious, remain inspired, and thank you for tuning in to the Whispers of the Smoky Mountains podcast. Until next time, take care, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Whispers of the Smoky Mountains podcast.